the next level.
Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Coach Tiffany Parra, Editor-in-Chief of Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. Today, we are taking center stage on the Own It magazine and publishing platform with our Authors Network Spotlight. You guys are probably going to know this young lady. She's been with us a couple of times on the show. I'm going to go ahead and just bring her on in. What's going on, Lakecia? Good morning, honey. How are
Good
you?
morning, Tiffany. I'm well. How are you this morning?
I am fantastic. And I am so excited to have you on the show. I'm just so excited to have you back because you are doing some amazing things in this literary world, sis. Now you bringing women together to just unite and share their stories and their journeys. So I just commend you and I celebrate you. So please take a moment to introduce yourself, tell our audience a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do.
Awesome. Well, good morning. My name is Lakecia Lockeridge. I am the visionary author of this new project, which is called Love Language of Grief. I'm also a podcast hoster, and I am just your round way girl. But I'm just so happy to be here with you this morning to be able to present to you our new anthology called Love Language of Grief. And not only am I here, I have a couple of my co-authors here with me, and I'm just excited for the world to get to know us, get to know the project, and so you can go and buy the book.
Okay, that's right. Oh my goodness. So, love languages of grief. I
Mhm.
mean, that's man. There's so many things that come to my mind, when I hear that. So, what inspired you to create an anthology surrounding grief? I mean,
Well, I'm sure my personal experiences influenced it, but this title came to me, just was downloaded in my spirit 2, maybe 3 years ago now. And I said, love language of grief. Okay. But when you don't know what to do with something, you sit on it. So I sat on it, but every once in a while we'll come back around, love language of grief. Okay. And so when it was time for me to move with it, I couldn't sleep. Every morning between 3 and 4, I was up. Love language of grief, love language. I was like, okay, God, give me clarity on what to do with this. And so it came to me, and I reached out to my publisher, and we went from there. We did an author call, and I I put it out there. I wanted authors who experienced their own stories, who could tell it, but also um let it be a release for us to be able to move
Mhm.
forward in life. And so I was blessed with the perfect authors
Yeah.
with this anthology, and I couldn't be more grateful. So even though I did the footwork, this was not my plan, but it was the plan of divine. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
what it is.
Wow. Wow. Now, we when you think about grief, it could be, the loss of a loved one. It could be the loss of a job. I mean, I went through that. A loss of a home. I mean, there's so many things you could. I mean, I think we were talking backstage. I said, a person could cut off their hair and go into a deep depression because they now feel like they made just the biggest mistake of their life and they're missing that, right? So
Yes, and
let's
most
talk a
people
little
who
bit
make
about.
drastic changes with their hair actually are looking for escape from their grief. I
Mhm.
know for me personally, um, I've done the big chop in the midst of my grief,
Yeah.
looking for relief a couple of times. So
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
That so
Absolutely.
makes sense, because even in my life, now that I'm thinking about it, I did go through a couple of big losses in my
Mhm.
life. I know when I lost my father, I think I cut half my hair off at that
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
But when I did leave a career that I felt was going to be, life, right?
Mhm.
That's when I just cut it all off and just, became the person who I am today. So but it is a release. It really is. So, um, what was it like taking the authors through this? Because that's a lot of emotion. And,
It
I mean, you
is.
got people processing some things. And I know
Yes.
I've done a few anthologies, and anthologies can get a little sticky at times too. So, what was that experience
Absolutely. So this one, I've done a couple of anthologies as well. But this one was um definitely of another caliber. One in particular reason is because everyone hadn't, well, let's just say this: grief is a never ending journey.
like? Yes. Mm-hmm.
And trying to put words to your grief is a lot. It's a challenge. And even in the midst of putting words to your grief, even though it's therapeutic, how do we heal? We have to
Mm-hmm.
face the trauma.
Right. Yeah.
So this one was a challenge because it brought forth some feelings that may have been repressed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was some that were, band-aids were put on them and they opened the wounds back up.
Yeah.
Um, and as the visionary author, even for myself, writing, I had my own little meltdowns and just trying to articulate my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, I had to remain focused and I had to remain balanced, and I couldn't allow my feelings to overshadow what was going on in the project. And so it was moments where um, someone may have been having a complete meltdown, and I had to jump into coach mode, or I had to jump into big sister mode, or it was times where most people like to retract and isolate when they're going through things, and I have
Mm-hmm.
to be the one to say, "Hold up, come on back,"
Right.
So,
Yeah.
um, those are just some of the aspects that we did experience, but we've
Mm-hmm.
had so many beautiful moments as well. And so there have been bonds formed,
Mm-hmm.
sisterhoods. And what I love about this group of ladies, majority of us are very vocal,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a challenge too, but the boundaries of respect and the boundaries of, even if we disagree, we agree, or just understand, respect each other's opinion. That is the beautiful thing about it, because you don't get that too often, especially when dealing with women. Yes, so it's been some beautiful moments. So we've cried together, we've laughed together, but it's been a journey, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Well, Lakecia, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to be joined by a couple of the authors in the book, Love Language of Grief. We'll be right back, y'all. And we are back. Big ups to Charles over at Upscale Online Biz Solutions. That was his commercial there. If you want a website, if you want a video for your book, you can contact Upscale Online Biz Solutions. All right, we are back. This is Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. And we have our Authors Network Spotlight today with visionary Lakecia Lockeridge. And now we have been joined by two of her amazing authors. Author Dani and author Tracy are in the house as well. Welcome, welcome, ladies.
Good morning.
Hey,
Good morning.
good morning. Good morning.
Oh, to have
You
y'all
are up
on the
awful early, huh? You are up awful early, Missy
I
Tiffany.
sure am. Look, it is not even 7 o'clock here in
I felt
the
that.
California SoCal. But you couldn't tell though with this energy level, right?
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing.
Well, welcome, ladies. I was just talking to Lakecia about this amazing project that you all have been a part of. And I want to
Mhm.
just tap into you all. So I'm going to give you a second to just please introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do. We're going to start with you, Author Dan.
Me first, me first. Okay, yes. Good morning, everybody. I'm your girl, Dani. I'm author Dani. I'm a chef. I'm a deacon, and I am just somebody that God picked to have a tumultuous story. To get through to the people who think that they're the only ones that are going through turmoil and who have had dysfunction, who have trauma, and so on and so forth. I hail from New York. Right now, I'm actually down in Atlanta. I had a book tour stop on the my first book. I down here promoting that book and also promoting love languages because we're in the midst of doing that. And so I'm actually leaving today. So I said, okay, y'all, are we gonna do this? Because I got to get. But just somebody that loves that visionary that's sitting right next to you on your left, my right. Um, she's become more than just a co-author in this project with me. We are family now. I'm that auntie
Yeah.
from a couple of the girls in the group, and I'm just grateful to be a part of such a wonderful offering that we have to help to heal this place. You know what I'm saying, that we live in. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that, Author Dan. All right, Author Tracy, please introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do as well.
Uh, Good morning. Good morning. My name is Tracy Wilson. I too am from Jersey, but I live in Georgia now. I'm a Jersey girl, but a Georgia peach at the same time.
All right now.
Been in Georgia 27, 28 years now. So I've been here. I'm a Georgia peach, but don't get it twisted. I'm still a Jersey girl at heart. Um, I am also this woman in front of me. Love, love, love her. We connected from the first time that we had a private conversation. Um, and I just fell in love with the idea because a lot of times people grieve in silence. You know what I'm saying? And I fell in love with the project when Dani actually introduced me to it, and I said, this is going to be big, this is huge, because there's so many, like you said earlier, Tiffany, there's so many spectrums to grief, whether it's the loss of my story is I lost two children, so that's my journey, and it's called The Mother's Love. And then I'm also a store manager. This is my third published book, so I feel like yay, so it keeps going. And also the CEO of my own nonprofit. So I'm the jack of all trades. Let's say master of many, of any. But I'm grateful, and I can't wait to see what the next level is for you, Keisha, because we already talked about what you gonna do. So this was just an interesting journey, and it has brought up some emotions in all of us, and it's in things that you thought you worked through, and when you writing it down, you hit another breakthrough in
Mhm.
your trauma. Because when I started doing mines, I changed it a few times, and I opened up a little more because I was kind of holding back, and I was
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm gonna go as raw as I possibly can so they can understand, the journey that I went on. But it did
Mhm.
kick up a lot of emotions, and sometimes I had to call my therapist, like, honey, Woo. I thought I worked through this, but and grief never ends. It's a cycle. It goes.
Yeah.
You can be in those 5 stages of grief or 7 because they don't recognize the other two, but you thought you mastered one thing, and then something will trigger, and you're back at step 1. So I've been finding myself going through 1 and 3 and 5, all through this journey. But I'm grateful for the experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I got to ask you ladies, because, Lakecia and I, we were talking about it too, and she's already kind of touched on it as well. I know with anthologies, there is always a lot of emotion and things like that. So what was the experience for you guys with this specific one? I know we did kind of touch a little bit on that. So Dani, what has been, your experience with this, and just being able to release, those emotions, those feelings with this authors?
That's a good question, Tiffany. First of all, thank you for having me. I forgot to do that. Thank you for having us. And this is a wonderful platform, and thank you for your yes, for getting up at wee hours of crack a butt in the morning to interview us. That takes commitment, right? But the beauty about this particular anthology, number one, I've never done an anthology. Number two, this is just my second book, which I'm totally grateful. It gave me a new experience. It gave me a new outlook on sisterhood. That's one of the things that was the major thing that came out, and networking. Because most people jump on an anthology to get more traction. You know, to get that camaraderie that you can get, that writing a book by yourself doesn't necessarily yield you that extra push. It doesn't necessarily yield you that camaraderie and that sisterhood, that 9 other women who are like-minded, who are moving to a destiny that's somewhat the same of yours, can bring you. It can bring you that solace, like Lakecia was talking about, like Tracy was just talking about, when you're ready to ravel, when you've touched upon that day where you're already having a bad hair day, if you get my drift, and now you're writing, and then you get a bad emotion day on top of a bad hair day, and you already want to kick the dog and hang the cat. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, hold up, stop. Let me hit Lakecia. Let me hit Tracy. Let me hit somebody, that because we've come together through this anthology, and even on the receiving side, like I'm one of the elders in the group, chronologically, thank God. I don't look like what I've been through, but like I said, I'm the new auntie to 2 or 3 new young ladies in the group, that I reminded them something. I gave them that place where they felt safe, that they could share other secrets, that they could, be in my life, and I'd give them something, and I'd check them when they need to be checked in a loving manner, like that auntie would. And sometimes we need that to continue our journey. You know what I'm saying? And had I not jumped on it, I was already, I already had traction going from my own. But the timing of this anthology was the beauty for me, because the timing came right after I had opened up all kinds of Pandora's box in, my book. And it kind of segued right into, the chapter of this book, which I wish I hadn't loved you. It's let's just say it's something that people are going to be, it's totally different. It's not the grief in what most people think that it is. And when you start reading it, you're going to be a little baffled. You're going to be like, okay, where's this going? But it flows right into, like we were talking about, you can grieve just about anything that you loved, that was emotionally attached to you, that you became emotionally attached to it. It doesn't have to be just the death of a spouse or a mother or a child or whatever the case may be. You can walk out of a relationship that was totally abusive. You knew you should have been there. You wanted to let go of it, but you just couldn't walk away. Sometimes you grieve that because that's all you knew. Somewhere in that dysfunction, you became comfortable, right? So coming together with a group of different women with different levels and different forms of grief, and finding that we all had a sweet spot that we finally got to, which became the love language. That's the sweet spot. That's the
Yeah.
spot that we realize that every day for the rest of our life, we might grieve this particular thing, and other griefs are going to come on top of it. But we
Yeah.
learn together, everybody achieves more healing. You
Mm,
know what I'm saying? That's the biggest part for me. That's the biggest takeaway for me. So,
beautiful. That's so beautiful. Yes. Thank you so much. What about you, Tracy?
Okay, repeat the question so I can.
So really with the emotion of, of just, being in an anthology, you're working with, other ladies, and, you're sharing your story, you're healing together. What has been that experience, for you? What, with you coming through this anthology with these beautiful ladies?
Um, a sisterhood as well. You know, I don't think I'm the second oldest. I might be the second oldest. I'm telling my age, but I'm 25 plus shipping and handling. That's my story, and I'm so you know. Um, and being the baby of my own family, I gained little sisters, right? And for me, it was a lot of I have to be sensitive and mindful of the mothers in the group, right? Because um, losing one child is hard, but losing two,
Right.
it's a whole different level. And I had to be mindful of the women in the group that have children, or the women in the group that have lost a child, you know. Um, it was a very eye-opening experience for me, because you have to speak the broken pieces to heal, right?
mhm,
So there was
Mhm.
a lot of times that I wanted to scale back and not live in my truth, especially
Mhm.
with my oldest son. And of course, my book is called A Mother's Love. It's my journey from moving from Jersey to Georgia, giving my boys a better life, going through survivor's guilt, which I'm still working through right now. Um,
Mhm.
this book was deep. I mean, it was the chapter. The book itself is going to be amazing. Just listening to everybody's story, and some
Yeah.
of it is heavy, and sometimes you got to just like. So taken away from it, it opened up me to be more fearless in
Mhm.
everything that I do. Um,
Yeah.
um, it opened me up to trust more, because I'm a Capricorn and I have trust issues. You know what I mean? So to open up in that regard, to be that vulnerable, if that makes sense. I mean, because
Mhm.
doing this as an author in anything, it's about vulnerability. And you
Right.
have to be able to be vulnerable and vulnerable enough to trust somebody's vision, because Keisha's vision was like, I trust her. Okay. And then to trust yourself to do your best work, right?
Right.
Because when you go through things in life, you doubt yourself. So sometimes you
Mhm.
become the things that people have attached to your name. So you have
Right.
to, and in the midst of this came at the most perfect time, because I was going through a separation in my marriage. So that's
Mhm.
also a grief situation. But I was also healing from all the stuff that was going on in that marriage. So I
Mhm.
became what that person said. Like Dani spoke about, that a relationship that you had a hard time getting out of because that's all you knew. So
Mhm.
when it was brought to me, I looked in the mirror. I was hesitant first, and I was like, no, I don't think I'm ready. I don't know if I want to do it. And I stood in the mirror and I had like a whole conversation with myself, and I checked myself and was like, girl, if you don't get off your butt and do this and tell your story, because you don't know how many parents out there are stuck and can't
Mhm.
move past their grief and losing their child, you know. Um, and I was like, but I don't want to. I don't want to, I don't want anybody, because what I've learned in this grieving journey for me is I'm not a victim. I'm
Mhm.
victorious.
Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah.
what I want people to see, I want them to see the heart of Tracy. Not, oh, I feel so sorry for you, because no, because there's so much more to this mother who has lost her child, who's turned her pain into purpose.
Yeah.
I can do it, then you can do it too. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and I can't wait to see what the next thing brings about. So it was a very humbling experience for me. It was a very emotional experience. I'm telling you, I was writing and I was like crying and just like, no, and when I read it, I was like, I could see myself going back through both of those experiences. And that was kind of painful, but it was worth the pain because it exposed emotions that I benched, and
Absolutely.
it exposed the emotions that I benched for a long time. And I was like, okay, you are healing, girl. Go ahead. And so I'm so grateful. Yep.
Absolutely.
And that's even with me, Tiffany, Tracy. I can't speak on this with Tracy because I had a meltdown moment with Tracy, and I realized that I was still stuck in my anger of my grief. And through the healing process of me recognizing it, I was able to write a letter of forgiveness. But not only that, I was able to release this knot that I've been carrying in my chest for years.
Wow.
And it was due to anger. Like I could lay down and couldn't breathe and didn't understand why. Go to the doctor, nothing was wrong. But it was pent up anger behind grief. And it took for Tracy to say a couple of words to me. I don't even think she realized what she said to me, but it was like, that's it. That's what I've been looking for. And then I hung up with her and I called her back and I was like, you released me. Those type of moments are the moments I live for because we're not only healing individually, but we're healing collectively.
Yes.
I think it was the phone call in our podcast.
Yes.
And it was the phone call we had, and then we did a podcast together. And the story was, it was incredible. And even though I helped you, you helped me too, because I was dealing with some anger. And you know how I get when I call you sis. Oh my God. And you just say and breathe. And then I call Dani like, Dani, look. Now, Dani like, all right, girl, now you better get your stuff together and keep it pushing. So,
yeah.
See, I'm more nurturing. Dani gonna rip the band-aid right off soon you say hello.
Boom. Look, come on, stop sugarcoating it. Because see, that's the thing. Well, again, we started out. I'm that auntie, right? And when mama don't show up for life, what does aunties do? They step in and they become the mamas that you don't have. But see, I'm from that old school, whereas number one, we're writing these books of grief and getting through them because we swept that grief under the table. Or we got to a certain point in our healing, then we're like, okay, that's enough. I don't want to heal no more. I'm going to stay right here. No, that's not how you heal. That's how you stay stuck on stupid, bleeding out on people who didn't cut you, still allowing people to abuse that place in your life that's still sore, that's still not willing, And so, unfortunately, but fortunately, the one thing that I've learned about lifing with or without us, and Tiffany, sometimes you've gotten some of my abrasion. We've had some things, right? But it's still loving, and it's coming from a place of love. I'm one of them straight up no chaser type of jokers. Why? Because that's what I want you to give me. I don't want you to sugarcoat and pity pat and tiptoe around me. Give me real, because I'm going to give you real. And I know that because there's so many people that are still in this life that we're, baby, come on. No, I'm not going to coddle your behind. What am I going to coddle you for? You're not going to heal if people continue to allow you to stay over here being coddled. Oh, well, she lost her baby, or she lost her job. Okay, well, she still got to pay a goddamn bill, so she got to get out somewhere, find a job, do what she got to do. You can't walk around in this life continuing to sugarcoat people's SHIT. Why? Because it's still SHIT. I don't care how much sugar you put on it. It's still going to be SHIT. You know what I'm saying? But then after the fact, y'all know that it's because of love, and it's because of that sisterhood, and because I feel like I'm going to say it as politically correct and as loving as I can. But I'm going to let y'all know my point is this is this and this is that. Let's be real with each other so we can get to another place in time. Too many of us women are sitting around today still allowing people to keep us stuck in that little fairy tale that we've made to keep our emotions just right for us to stay stuck.
Okay. Wow.
Let's talk. Sometimes people have to have the hard conversation. And I'm one of those people. Give it to me because I'm going to give it to you. Let's have the hard conversation so we can move forward and still love each other. Because when we don't have the hard conversations, right, y'all, come on, we all women and we all women of color. When we don't have the hard conversations, guess what happens? We continue to allow the behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And when you continue to allow, you're right in the middle of grief because you know you should have dealt with something a certain way. And then we sit on it. It builds, then the next person, it builds, and the next person, it builds. And then one day, something ain't got nothing to do with nobody. That grief just exposes itself all over everybody that day.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now we're the angry Black woman.
That's really true because I work with a lot of women and women of color. I'm a store manager. So, and then all that estrogen is too much. It's too much. But a lot of times it's rare that you find real sisterhoods because most sisterhoods, you lifting that other person's crown. You're not doing XYZ with but a lot of times you find it be your own people that be trying to sabotage you be your own people. When I say your own people, be your own people who jealous because you're a step further than they are. And I tell people all the time, everybody is not meant to sit in your front row. So as you're evolving, you're gonna see different people
drop off.
They're gonna, absolutely.
And a lot of times I'm very through this project, it's opened my discernment a little bit better. Because a lot of times people want to attach to you because of who you are and what you have.
Or who they think you are. Who they think you are.
It's just like, I want to attach to her because she's a podcast host or she's an author, I've had several people since my show, Keisha, I want to be on your show. I said, baby, it ain't that easy to sit on my show because, my show is from Pain to Purpose, and I'm not judging you, but, just because you know me, that doesn't give you that's like me going to Oprah. Oprah, what's your PIN number, girl? Because, you know what I'm saying? So I'm learning who can sit in my front row and who can't. And if the seats in the front are empty, it is what it is. And that includes family too. Oh, sis, I'm not that. No. And I tell my family quickly, I am not the ATM. It is not always Tracy's money. So please stop. You're my sister. Okay, I'm your sister. Yes. And where was you when the lights was out? Where was you when, now you want to get on the bandwagon because Tracy's going this way and you still stuck here. So I'm learning through this project to be strong in my no. Because I'm always like, yes, to be strong in that. And no means no. Not later. Call me 15 minutes from now. My no is strong now. Like, no. And I would cuss, but it's Sunday, but my no has been hell no. Recently, no, So,
and no is a complete sentence, y'all. Exclamation point. Okay, there you go.
And so I say this, and Keisha, I have to say it the way I hear it, because when God speaks, and and this is for Tiffany too, and I'm just meeting you, but there are people that's gonna drop off. There are people that are attaching because of where you are and who you are and what you're doing. And you know, your name is in the spotlight, your YouTube channel, your picture, your face is everywhere. So, let me see how I could attach to Dani or Tracy or Tiffany or Keisha or anybody else in that spectrum. And then you have to have the discernment to know who can stay and who's not, you know,
Right.
who's in your circle. So at this point, you know, God's going to release the people that need to be released and checking the people that need to be checked in
That's
the
it.
in the way of the
Right.
shift, you know.
Mhm.
So with elevation comes separation. Sometimes you have
Mhm.
to separate yourself
Yeah.
from,
Mhm.
you know, and that's the hardest thing for me because I've always like thought I needed people in my life, you know, I needed friends. And them
Mhm.
same friends will throw you under the bus as quick as they can to save themselves. And I've recently
Absolutely.
witnessed it and seen it myself. And I'm like,
Mhm.
clenching my invisible pearls, like, oh no, you didn't, you know. So in this season that we're going through of elevation, we have to be mindful of the people that are around us.
That's
New
right.
levels, new devils.
Yep.
Trust.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Mhm.
You have to
That's
be,
good.
you have
But
to,
see, the
you have
beauty
to cut
about
the
us
snake off
having
the
this,
head.
the beauty, if I may, with us having like, okay, just like real sisters, blood sisters. You grew up in a household, say it was 9 girls, right? Okay, you're going to innately attach to some of the 9 sisters closer than the other ones.
Mhm.
And the beauty about being a spiritually connected group of women, not religious, because yeah, anyway, um,
Mhm.
a spiritually connected group of women is I don't have to talk to Lakecia and I know when something is going on. Haven't I just picked up the
Mhm.
phone and called you and say, all right, now what, hello, what's going on? You know, Tracy, same thing. Okay, girl, I ain't heard from you in a week. What's up? What, you know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
spirit is going
Mhm.
to, is going to drop something in, right? And that's beyond discernment. That's a
Mhm.
spiritual
Connect.
connection, right?
Yeah.
And when you have a spiritual connection with somebody, those are the people that you could just go sit in the room, give them a hug, and not say 2 words, but just because, or virtually, or in another state on the other end of the phone, and you don't have to say 2 words, but they know that you're not just there listening, you're there connected. And that's the beauty about the anthology. Now, the downside to that is because of this project, some of us are going to fall off right out of this group. And that's
Mhm.
okay too, because
Right.
we connected with them in a way. Like people tell me all the time, Dani, some people can't take you. Okay, guess what? Talk to the trees every fall and find out how many people can't take them. They bear, they fall barren. Then they have to go through a winter. Then they blossom with new fruit, new
Mhm.
blossoms, new life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody ain't attached to your destiny. And that's okay.
No,
Right.
They will
absolutely.
only weigh you down from getting where you gotta go. If you try to drag them along with you, they ain't doing that. I did that
Absolutely.
for the first half of my life. I'm good.
Absolutely.
I'm way
Absolutely.
past I'm way past that halfway mark, the twilight. I'm into my twilight. I ain't got to drag nobody along with me. I am a preferred cup of tea, and I'm all right with it.
You owe Spice, Danielle. It's okay.
Bam.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
no.
I
Don't make
love
me
this.
do the wop up in here.
Hey,
I go back to the wop, girl. I go back to the let's do the jerky and the monkey. Don't play with me. Sure. And I'm all right with that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love y'all energy. Like, we're gonna cut to another quick commercial break, but I want to come back and I want to talk about self-care with y'all. You know, this is the fitness fanatics. So we're gonna go ahead and
Mhm.
we're gonna go ahead and kind of switch it up a little bit. Think about your self-care. I want to know what your self-care looks like because this is a lot. You're healing, you're working, you're taking care of families, you're doing all sorts of things. So let's talk about that when we come back. We'll be right back. And we are back. Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, elevating your mind, body, and spirit. This is our Authors Network Spotlight with visionary author Lakecia Lockeridge. And we've got a couple of her amazing authors from the love language of grief. Love language of grief. I don't have it up on the screen. Love language of grief. Excuse me. Sorry. We got Author Dani and we got Author Tracy in the house. So we've talked about so much this morning. This has been just so juicy, and I'm just loving it. So you ladies are just. Y'all are powerhouses. Y'all are superstars, okay? Y'all out there just doing the doggone thing. You're writing books. You're working. You're just doing a lot. So let's talk about that self-care. What does self-care look like for you, Lakecia? You're visionary. It is a lot. We talked about, taking on a lot of those, different hats as you are visionary. You become coach. You become, that shoulder to cry on. You have a lot of different things. Plus, you also have life. Right. So,
absolutely, Tiffany. So for me right now, I've been on your show a couple times, and we've always talked about like self-care regimens and routines. But in this season of my life, my self-care is within. So I'm more focused on caring for my mind, protecting my energy, and just healing from within. I'm in a transitional phase in my life, and I harbored some pretty deeply rooted traumas and grief. And as I've been healing, Dani and Tracy can attest to this. Physically, everything that was on the inside needing to come out has been manifesting physically. I just had a heart attack. I just had a heart attack. Not only that, I had a skin condition that manifested itself in the doctors couldn't find any underlying issues other than stress.
Wow.
So I will tell anyone, care for yourself within. I mean, it's okay to go get your hair done, your nails done. I encourage that as well. Massages, but none of that is going to matter if you are not right within.
Yes.
So that's what I'm on right now, working from within out.
Yeah. Wow. That you got to work within to be able to transform, out as well. So I totally relate to that. Yes. All right. Author Dani, what about you? What does that self-care look like for you?
Well, 10 years ago, I was at the prime of my life. I had the money, I had the cars, I had the truck jewelry, I was doing the daggone thing. I had the sunken living room with the fireplace, and I was the hostess with the mostest, and I was pursuing my recording career, and I was, the counselor in the place to be, and I was working 84 hours a week, and I was performing every weekend, and I would jump off of one flight or jump off the road, go straight to the work. You hear that? It sounds a little busy, right?
Yeah.
So one day I looked up and I had a nervous breakdown. Yeah. And after 20 years of being clean and alcohol free, and thinking that I was dealing with some stuff, I had a very public, very humiliating relapse after being clean for 20 years. Right.
Wow.
It took me 5 years to get back into recovery from drugs. But it has taken me all of these 10 years to have my best emotional and mental life ever in my whole life.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to be real with you. Okay. I don't know if it was the nervous breakdown, the me getting up to 355 pounds. I don't know what it was, right? But what I will tell you is this. I no longer have the luxury of allowing you on the outside to steal my joy.
Yes.
I no longer have the luxury of breaking my peace because you are trying to determine my peace level. That's no longer happening. And like Lakecia, do I exercise every day? Absolutely. Do I exercise to the point where I'm in the gym and I'm sweating every day? No. And I'd be sitting here lying. Let me tell you what I did while I was down here in Georgia. This was Friday morning. My launch was Friday night. Friday morning, I got up with my house host, and they do water aerobics every day, she and her husband. So I went to, now, mind you, when I wrote my book last year, I was learning how to walk all over again from major spinal surgery. I got up and I went to water aerobics. Now, candid, transparent moment. I have not been in water aerobics since I learned how to walk all over again. Okay. So Friday, just past, was the first time that I tried, right, to immerse myself in that type of, physical activity. And I had already committed in my mind that I'm gonna do a half an hour. Then I prayed God allow me to do a half an hour because I wanted to test myself to see if my physicality would allow me to do it. Well, somewhere around 24, 26 minutes, my back said, all right, you're showing off now. You're showing off now. So let me tell you about God. And God is always in the midst if we allow him to stay and move out of the way, right? People and it was about 30, 40 women. I mean, it was packed and a couple of men, right? When I tell you, they started checking on me. You okay? Everything all right? The lifeguards came over and I said, yeah, I just got a cramp. I got a spasm in my back, right? I said, but I'm all right. I'm all right. Thank you. It made me feel so good that they were paying attention to me, right? I had almost hit that goal. So I got back in and I pushed myself for the next 2 or 3 minutes when that spasm let up. Then I got out of the pool because I said, okay, something go left. I'm going to be in the pool with it going left, right? Then I committed to walking it off for the next 15 minutes around the pool. So I did 45 minutes and challenged myself for the first time since I had 12 screws and 4 pins put in my spine. So I'm celebrating the small win, sis. I'm celebrating the small win. But it all started.
Amen.
Listen, y'all, it all started with me healing. It started with me writing the book. It started with me jumping on this anthology and seeing that I'm not the only one. It started with me praying, God, allow my physical to align with what's going on with me spiritually and mentally and emotionally. It allowed me to push people away. It allowed me to stop allowing people to come and enter my circumference that's no longer welcoming to you. You're not going that way. So I'm not allowing you to stop my groove. I'm not allowing you to rent free space in my head. I sleep peacefully every night.
That's right. That's right.
That's
Yes.
what self-care
Oh,
looks like. You can
Yes.
eat as great as you want to. You can exercise as much as you want to. But if you're not saying no when you want to say no, when you need to say no, if you're not stopping, dropping, and rolling when you're too hungry, angry, lonely, and tired, guess what? It don't matter how many muscles you got on top of muscles. You are not going to be able to stand the rain. It
that's
all
right.
starts here.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Ooh,
Amen.
That's what
amen.
self-love looks like,
Congratulations,
y'all.
sis.
That's the only way I was
Congratulations.
able to do that. I'm telling you, I felt so good. The spasm meant nothing anymore because I felt so good because I committed and I
Right.
and I followed through. And now when I go back home, we got a pool and we got a gym. And now I could do the physicality stuff because I started the mental and the emotional and the spiritual healing stuff. It's not going to allow me not to bring my whole body. Bring the mind and the body will follow. You know
That's
Amen.
what?
right. That's right.
When
Amen.
That's
you better ask somebody.
Yeah.
Thank you,
yes.
God.
Thank you, Aunt Daddy. All right, Aunt Tracy. What does self-care look like for you?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Mm-mm.
So, in this moment, I'm speaking to the little girl, Tracy, who always struggled with her weight and how she looked. And, the abandonment piece, the emotional eater, the little chunky little girl, right? That like the little popcorn and sweetest fish and Pepsis and White Castles, you name it, I had it. Struggle with my weight all my life. So, when my youngest died in 2007, I gained 60 pounds. I was at my heaviest. And I've always been the PHAT pretty hot and thick girl. You know what I mean? Just pretty
don't hurt nobody, girl.
I was thicker, it was a little bit more thicker. It was a little more, cush. And I was depressed. My baby had died, and everybody around me enabled me. If I wanted a cheesecake, they bought me cheesecake. If I wanted McDonald's, Burger King, whatever was down here, whatever I wanted at that time, they thought they were helping me, but they were hurting me. And I didn't recognize that till years later, right? So I would lose, went to Weight Watchers, 10 pounds here, yay, all of that. But I wasn't doing the work inwardly, right? So we're going to fast forward to 2019. I have a new normal for me and my oldest son at the time, and then he dies. And so here I am, I'm by myself, right? So I'm like, nah, I don't want to go through the emotional eating anymore. I went through 6 different therapists to get to the therapist that I have now, right, to work on. So I would see pictures from when I was in Jersey, and I would see pictures, in my journey here, and the fatness and all that. And I was like, oh, you was cute, but you was heavy. You was really, really, and there's nothing wrong with being heavy, but it was obesity at that point. Let's put it out there like that. So here it is, 2019, and my oldest son was very physical. He wanted to be a physical fitness trainer, right? He had the nice little body. He was gorgeous. I had to be fighting these girls off my boy. I was like, listen, I don't play about that one, this, that, for. And he was like, Mom, why don't you just start? Before he died, he said, Mom, why don't you just start with walking? Let's just walk. And I was like, okay, let's walk. So we started walking, and I would walk to work. And he would walk to work with me because I didn't have a car. And the store was right up the street. I lived in a city called Statham. It's like Walnut Grove and the Little House on the Prairie, everything. So I would start walking. But then when he died, I had that moment where I don't want to be emotional. I recognized it. Okay, Tracy, we're not going to do the same thing we did the last time. You're not going to gain 60 pounds. So I started walking. I joined the gym. I stopped drinking a lot of sodas, right? And I'm doing good. So I started seeing the weight loss. Then here comes 2020. My father died.
COVID hit. We were stuck inside.
My father dies. Anybody who knows me knows that I am daddy's little girl, So now I done lost my son. Oh Lord. So I'm like, I don't want to emotionally eat. And I made up in my mind, I'm not going to do it this time. I'm not going to emotionally eat. So I boosted up the gym, going to the gym 3 times a week. Now, here's the story behind going to the gym. I was in the gym, but I was people watching. I wasn't working out. I was pretending to. I was on the treadmill, girls. I'm telling you. And I'm like, oh, she got a cute little outfit on, and I'm supposed to be walking, but I'm just kind of strolling on the treadmill, right? And so this trainer at Planet Fitness came over, and he said, are you breaking a sweat? And I was like, no, not really. I'm just kind of just walking. He said, because you got it on like the lowest level. That's why you're not breaking a sweat. And I was like, okay. So I just started laughing. So he pressed the number to get get it going a little bit more. So I started liking that. Started liking how I was feeling. I was getting more energy. I was sleeping better, And so then now we had 2022. So I'm going through a hard time in my marriage, right? And the gym became my outlet. It was my away from the issues, the drama, all of it. And I wasn't people watching anymore. I realized I was breaking the sweat, and I don't like the sweat. I'm like, oh, can't take it. I'm already menopausal. I can't take all this sweat. So it became part of my everyday routine. Like I work and I would go to the gym for 30, 40 minutes and then come home and, pretend that everything was well at home, and it wasn't. So now, 2024, I've lost 65 pounds. I went from a size 18 to a 12. Girl, I tell you,
Come on, 12.
and I watch what I eat. I still have moments, and I can recognize them now. I'm sleeping better. But see, when you lose weight, you lose weight, if that makes sense. When you dropped the weight off you lose weight. And so the gym became my outlet. And so I have it where I live at now. We have a little gym, but it's not big enough for me. So I still go to the gym 3 times a week. I'm in intensive therapy. When I say, this therapist has me working, and I'm learning how to just shut down when necessary, unplug when I need to unplug. When that means social media and all, before social media, every TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, my name, your gram, TikTok, all of that. I've been on it and be up all times of the night. But now I rest. I eat better. I have my moments. Like today, I really want something really, really good. Like I want some soul food, which I don't feel like cooking, so I'm not gonna do it. But this journey has I recognize that I was an emotional eater and I had to make the changes. And I see the changes because I'm looking at my neck. I'm like, girl, your neck is not, because a couple of weeks ago I posted a before and after, and it was a picture of me at my sister's wedding. And now I'm really telling my age. And if you watch Little House on the Prairie, y'all remember Nellie Olsen's mother?
Yeah. Don't stop.
So I often compare that picture to, I look like the Black version of Nellie Olsen's mother at my sister's wedding. And my sister said, but you were beautiful. And I said, no, but I was not. I was beautiful, maybe appearance wise, but I was heavy. And then I posted that picture from 2009 and the last picture I took in 2024, and you can see it. And the transformation is like, I'm transformed. I'm transformed. I never want to go back to being that unhealthy. So I often speak to that little girl who always felt abandoned, always felt not wanted, always was called fat, or you don't look like your family. You're different looking. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And to the grown woman, Tracy, I say, you are the bomb.com girl. Keep going.
That's right. Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm just loving these transformations. And ladies, you're absolutely right. Again, it all starts here. You got to get tapped in. I mean, you got to get tapped in one spiritually. You got to get whatever that belief system is. For me, it's God, Buddha, whatever it is for you, universe, whatever it is, tap into that. Get the mind right. And once you get the mind and the spirit right, the body will soon follow. So I want to just thank you, ladies, so much for joining me today. Lakecia, thank you so much. And look, y'all, we're going to talk about it real quick before we let these ladies go. We got something that y'all got to do. They're releasing on June 25th, correct?
That's correct.
25th, they're doing a bestseller campaign. So we need y'all to get out there. We will be posting the links. Own It will be posting the links. These ladies and the other authors will be posting these links to go ahead and download the ebook. And the way you're going to help them get to that bestseller campaign, that number one bestseller, is by purchasing, download it, flip all the way to the end, and then you're going to want to go ahead and give them that well-deserved 5-star review with a couple of words, just words letting everyone know what you received out of that, what that goodness was that you received out of that book, and they will become that number one bestseller. You can also buy multiples. I buy multiples. So look, ladies, I am going to right now say I will get 10 copies because I got at least 9 people that I can go ahead and share this amazing book with. So y'all get out there, download it on June June 25th. You will see the links again everywhere. Everybody have an amazing day. I love you ladies so much. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for having us, Tiffany.
Thank y'all. Traveling mercy. I'm going home today, y'all.
Yes, safe travel. We love
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. We love you. Be blessed, everybody. Don't let nobody steal your joy today.